Good morning, all. We at DMIMS, we have this wonderful virtual learning center in which we have this wonderful mannequin called Simon. So we take all our labor modules on this Simon. We have our own team over here which consists of the obstetric faculty and a faculty who looks after the entire Simon technical aspect. Swati Munde ma'am from MGSC, right? So we are going to start now the normal labor module. So because this is the corona period, we are all wearing masks and we are going to keep little social distancing, right? So the first module which we have is on normal labor, and we are going to discuss it in 3 stages of labor, the main 3 stages of labor. So we will start with the first stage of labor now. So before we start with the actual 3 stages of labor, I would request myself, first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Neema Acharya, Professor and Head Department of OBGYN. And I would request now Dr. Swati to kindly let us know about some technical aspect of this SIMOM mandate.
This is a simulator. The SIM stands for S for simulator, I for instructor, and M for monitor. I have arranged here. This is the ADM, that means automatic delivery module. We have arranged it the baby in position like occipital anterior position. We have arranged it, and I will start it. You can see properly how it actually works.
Thank you, ma'am. So now we all will start with the actual module. So as we know that the normal labor, the onset of normal labor is assessed or it is diagnosed with the definite signs. One of the most important signs or the symptoms, first of all, are that the patient is going to get pain. The pain is going to start in the back and then it is going to go towards the medial part of abdomen and then it is going to get radiated to the thighs, right? And definite signs are going to be uterine contractions. So during uterine contractions, the uterus is going to become prominent, it is going to become hard, they are going to be periodic. So they are going to come maybe initially 1 in 10 minutes or 1 in 15 minutes, and as the labor progresses, so it is going to increase in intensity and frequency. And they will become maybe in the late first stage and late second stage of labor, they might go up to say 3 to 4 contractions in 10 to 15 minutes or so. So before we jump on to the first stage of labor, there are definite 4 stages of normal labor. The first stage is onset of true labor pains to the full dilatation of cervix. Second stage of labor is from full dilatation of cervix to the delivery of baby. Third stage is the delivery of placenta, and fourth stage is basically to monitor the hemodynamic status of mother and to assess if the patient has any PPH, right? So this is how we are going to learn the normal labor. So let's come to the first stage of labor. So how do you assess whether the patient is in first stage of labor? Any idea? So how do you know? First is uterine contractions. Second thing, cervical signs. What are going to be the vaginal signs? It is going to be shown, isn't it? So when you do PV, the cervical mucus will be felt. It is going to have reddish tinge to it, isn't it? So it will be a cervical mucus plug and there which is stained with blood. Third thing is there's going to be cervical dilatation and effacement. Right? The cervix which is closed like this is going to get opened up like this and it is going to dilate also. So first it is going to be effacement and then dilatation. Right? So this is how the first stage of labor progresses. So from onset of true labor pains, so true labor pains and false labor pains. The true labor pains are going to be increasing in intensity, frequency, isn't it? And they're going to get more and more painful. And they're not going to get relieved by any pain relief, isn't it? And they are going to be associated with vaginal signs of like show, dilatation, all those things are going to be there. And in false labor pains, there will not be any cervical dilatation, right? So now let's move to, now let's come to the second stage of labor. In second stage of labor, as we all know, the contractions are going to get more and more vigorous. The cervix is going to be fully dilated, and now the baby is going to actually go through the entire main steps of mechanism of labor. So during mechanism of labor, the first step is always descent. Throughout labor, the main step is descent of the entire fetus, the presenting part. So in normal labor, the presenting part here, as you can see, with contraction, now the head is started coming down, right? So this is the stage just before the crowning. So you can see here the contraction is coming. This is a fully automated Simmom mannequin in which technically ma'am is controlling the, Swati ma'am is controlling the console, and then there is good uterine contraction which has been set in now. And now in the next contraction, which is going to come in another minute or so, the head is going to come at crowning, right? So in for the basic steps of, see now, again the contraction is going to come and it is going to get bulged here. So descent is a continuous process. In a normal labor, the head is the presenting part, vertex is the presenting part. So it is described as it is a cephalic presentation with vertex as the presenting part, with back on the left side, anterior quadrant of mother. So it becomes a left occipital. This is occiput. This is a lambdoid suture here, which you can see, and it is a left occipito anterior. In this, actually, the head has already internally rotated, and now the occiput is banged below the symphysis pubis, right? So patient is actually fully dilated now. The head is almost on the perineum. Occiput has already internally rotated, and now you can see the occiput just below the symphysis pubis. Maybe in the next contraction, the head is going to come out. We'll need little lubrication. So what do? We do in the second stage of labor, when just before crowning, we are going to give, if at all patient needs episiotomy, you are going to give liberal local analgesia wherever you are expecting the, whenever you want to give the episiotomy. We generally give on the left mediolateral episiotomy from foreshead going towards the ischial tuberosity. That should be the direction, right? So like this. Many people give it on right side also, whichever side the obstetrician is used to, but left mediolateral episiotomy is a routine. And then you are going to do it just before the crowning, give local, and at crowning, you're supposed to give the episiotomy. Why at crowning? Because the head is maximally stretching the vulval outlet, and the episiotomy which is required is very less. If you give it very early, it is going to cause, yeah. Now the Simmom mannequin is simulating the bearing down efforts which the mother is going to do. Now this is a typical crowning. Right now the contraction has gone, but the head has not receded inside, as you can see. In the initial contraction, the head had gone inside when the contraction went. So this is the time you are going to give. The local must have acted by now, and then now you are going to give episiotomy like this over here, right? Now I am going to request my assistant to give this perineal support in the next contraction, right? So whenever you deliver the fetal head, which is going to be born by extension, right? After internal rotation, it is in the next contraction, it is going to come out in extension. Two supports are needed. One support is needed in the suburethral area, paraurethral area, so that the anterior vaginal wall near the urethra should not tear. And the episiotomy, if at all given, should not extend, or if you have not given episiotomy, there should not be any perineal tear, right? So this support is very important. This is also called as Ridgen's maneuver, where you are going to sweep the head out without injuring the posterior vaginal wall, right? So doing this, ironing, this is called an ironing of vagina. It doesn't help much and should not be done routinely because it causes a lot of trauma to the posterior vaginal wall. Many of the residents and sisters are used to doing this ironing. It really does not help. It causes a lot of pain to the patient and should not be done routinely, right? So this is how we are waiting for the next contraction to come, and we are going to encourage the mother to bear down during the contractions, right? Now in the next contraction, the head might be delivered. So in a primary gravida, the first stage of labor lasts for about, the cervix dilates 1 centimeter per hour. If you don't induce, if you don't augment, if you don't interfere, the dilatation will happen 1 centimeter. So it may last for about 8 hours in primary gravida, the real active first stage. The second stage in primary gravida lasts for about 1.5 to 2 hours at times. and the third stage is 10 to 15 minutes, right? But in a multigravida, the whole process is shortened. So first stage may be just 3 to 4 hours, and second stage may be just 10 to 15 minutes also at times, and actually up to 1 hour. See, now the contraction is again coming. You will hear the mom's voice also, right? And this is how the head is. So she has given perineal support. I'm going to give paraurethral support, and this is how the head is going to get delivered, right? So this is how the head has been delivered. You can see the external rotation of head. That's because of the internal rotation of the shoulders. Now I'm going to deliver one shoulder. She is bearing down. The support is still kept for the shoulders. Otherwise, the shoulders will get obstructed. Isn't it? Or they will cause tear. So delivery of shoulder should happen like this. So pushing the one shoulder down so that the dislodges below the symphysis pubis, then the lower shoulder, right? And then you're going to deliver the whole baby like this, right? So slowly, the baby is delivered out, right? So this is how the baby is delivered. So what you do is, once the baby is delivered out, you are going to keep the baby, sister take the tray. So you are going to keep the baby below the maternal level. You are not going to clamp it as immediate clamping. You are supposed to wait till the cord pulsations are gone. So this is called as delayed cord clamping, which is recommended by PIGO and even pediatric associations. That allows little oxygenated blood to go to the fetus, right? So this is how you are going to wait. So the baby has started crying. We have made the baby warm, and then you are going to clamp and disconnect the cord, right? So this is how you are going to disconnect the cord, right? And the baby will be handed over to the pediatrician. Now we are coming to the, so if at all episiotomy is given, what we are going to do? We are going to give pressure here on the episiotomy so that the episiotomy does not bleed, right? And you're going to wait for the placenta to deliver. Now comes the third stage of labor. So third stage of labor, placenta can separate in two ways. One is by Shiny-Schultz method or Dirty Duncan's method. In Shiny-Schultz method, the placenta separates centrally, and then there is retroplacental clot. So what comes out first is the fetal surface, the shiny surface. You will not see a lot of bleeding coming out as in if it separates that way. So it is called as shiny method, shiny surface coming out. So method Schultz, central separation. And there is another method called as Duncan's method. In Duncan's method, what happens is it is going to separate marginally. So both maternal and fetal sides are going to come out. So such placental separation leads to a lot of bleeding. And you can see, revealed blood coming out. And that is one of the signs of separation of placenta. So what are the signs of separation of placenta? There will be apparent lengthening of cord. There will be gush of blood coming out of vagina. There will be a suprapubic bulge here. Now the placenta has come here, right? So there is something called as controlled contraction. So you are going to hold it here, right? And then you are going to slowly give controlled contraction, and then ask the mother to bear down, right? So in this case, the fetal surface has come out first, right? And little maternal surface is also coming. So this is a kind of marginal or dirty Duncan's method. Otherwise, if it comes out like this, only this side, then it becomes shiny Schultz. So then you are going to roll the placenta and slowly deliver it, removing the entire membranes. Now you are going to keep it in the tray. Always keep the placenta on the tray and examine for all the cotyledons, the fetal surface, the maternal surface, all the cotyledons, if any cotyledon is missing. After you have checked this, you are going to again check now for any bleeding, whether the uterus has retracted well or not. And if there is no active bleeding, then you are going to start suturing your episiotomy. If there is active bleeding, the whole thing gets shifted to 4 T's of postpartum hemorrhage, right? Four T's are tissue, trauma, thrombin, and tissue, tone, tissue, trauma, and thrombin, right? So you're going to check for all that. Then you're going to suture the episiotomy here, which you have already given. And then the fourth stage of labor is nothing but monitoring of pulse, BP, right? Patient should be given some good warm liquids if she's stable, not bleeding much. And then you are going to start immediately breastfeeding also. So as soon as possible, you must initiate the breastfeeding for the patient. So we have today seen the 3 stages of labor. The fourth stage is monitoring stage. So the first stage is
from the starting of labor pains to labor pains to full dilatation.
second stage is
Dilatation to delivery.
third stage is
Function of placenta.
yeah. So for a primary gravida patient, it is going to be 8 to 10 hours because 1 centimeter per hour. For a multigravida patient, it may last for about 3 to 4 hours. And in second stage of labor, it is for primary gravida almost 2 hours. And for multigravida, it can be as good as half an hour, at times even 15 minutes, right? And you give episiotomy at second stage of labor at crowning, and that is to prevent the perineal tear, right? And what supports you give in the second stage of labor? 2 supports: paraurethral in the anterior vaginal wall and perineal, right? And third stage of labor, you can wait for up to 15 to 20 minutes you wait, but theoretically you can wait almost for half an hour, 45 minutes. But if it doesn't come out in the first 10 minutes or so, something is wrong and you must start an oxytocin. Active management of third stage of labor is always starting an oxytocin drip or syntocinon drip, which has both oxytocin and methogen, and then you start that drip and then do controlled contraction and deliver the placenta by controlled contraction. And after that, you are going to assess for any postpartum hemorrhage, suture the episiotomy if at all it is given, and then start breastfeeding as early as possible. It should always be a delayed cord clamping unless there is a high risk neonate, right? So delayed cord clamping is you wait for at least 50-60 seconds for the blood to pass to the baby, and then once the cord pulsations go, then only you are going to clamp the cord, right? So this is all about this thing. Now, if somebody asks you the most important question, what is a normal labor? So normal labor, it is a series of events which takes place in the womb and the genital trunk in an effort to expel the products of conception, because both placenta and fetus are going to get expelled, isn't it? And it has certain prerequisites to call it normal labor. So number 1 is it is at term always. It happens after 37 weeks. Then number 2, it is always cephalic presentation, right? It cannot be breached, right? Then it has to be spontaneous in onset. If you're giving me some prostaglandin, oxytocin, it is not normal, right? Then third thing is it should not be prolonged unduly, and it should not have any maternal and fetal complications. So in today's era, if you ask me, it should be with undue age also. So in today's era, if you ask me, very few patients are actually having fully normal labor. Some or the other thing is done to actively manage the patient. You're giving episiotomy also. So all these things make very few patients to go through pure normal labor. But then we should try our best to deliver the women by normal labor as far as possible. So the fetus is in the single fetus is there. It is in cephalic presentation. Occiput is the presenting part, right? It is in the left occipito or right occipito anterior position. So these two are anterior quadrants. These two are posterior quadrants of the pelvis, right? So left occipito anterior internally rotates like this, isn't it? At ischial spines, and then it is going to deliver by extension. Then there will be external rotation of head because of internal rotation of shoulders, and then the shoulders will be delivered, then the trunk will be delivered. Then you are going to clamp the cord after complete stoppage of the cord pulsations, and then hand over the baby to pediatrician. Wait for 15 minutes for placenta to separate. If you actively manage the third stage of labor, you are going to start oxytocin drip, do control for traction, and remove the placenta by rotating it so that the entire membranes are swept out and nothing remains inside. Right? And then the fourth stage is the most important stage for monitoring the hemodynamic status of the mother and then to rule out PPH. So 1 hour at least you must monitor all normal labor patients in labor room, and then only they should be shifted out and initiate breastfeeding as early as possible. Thank you so much. Any queries if you have, we can discuss. Swati ma'am, thank you.